To Try Out Tuesday. My name's Bev, if you haven't been here before, and welcome to Bee Crafty. So every Tuesday at 8 p.m. we go live right here on YouTube, and I said we then as if I'm the royal we. It's just me. But we, as in there's going to be other people here too. And what we're going to be doing, because it is the first Tuesday of the month, which means we are scrapbooking this evening. So if you are catching up later and you'd like to just fast forward this bit until I start making, you are absolutely free to do that, because what I'm going to do is wait for a few more people to join in before I get going. So I totally understand if you want to fast forward this bit. I will waffle through it anyway. It's not going to be quiet or anything. But, you know, I do understand. Now, if you are new to Bee Crafty, please say hello. Please, you know, even if you are catching up later, leave a message. You know, if there's anything particular you would like to see, please let me know. Honestly, I want to make videos and content and things like that that you guys want to see. So it's very, very important that you do give me that feedback. Otherwise, I'm just rambling around on my own, aren't I? I mean, to be fair, I do that anyway. I do. Okie dokie. Just looking for the live video. There we are. I can afford to zoom in a little bit more, I think. Okay. So, this evening, like I say, it's the first Tuesday of the first Tuesday of the month, so we are going to be doing some scrapbooking this evening. I have already pre-selected this Catalyst card from Catalyst card set 3. I have cut the white border off because, which you're going to laugh at me for in a minute, because the paper, I'm going to do paper ribbons again, which I absolutely love. I promise I will not continue doing paper ribbons constantly, but it's just such a fantastic way to use up those offcuts, and I think it looks so effective. So if you're, you know, if your cut-off box is overflowing, this is an absolutely great way to use them. Now, obviously, the page I am doing tonight is also completely transferable into an art journal page or something like that. You don't have to use a photo as a feature. You could use a stamped image or something like that. Anyway, the reason I'm saying it's going to be funny that the fact I've cut the white border off this is a lot of my offcuts, and I do have some different sizes. I've said paper ribbons, but I've also got some squares and things in there as well. I've got the white borders on, and I've decided to leave them on because in this Catalyst card, obviously we do have white highlights, and I've actually got the C6 version, the A6 version, sorry, to layer up Abby's photo on. Okay, I am going to make sure all my new photos I order are matte, so it's easier. So what we're going to do is we are going to be working with that on here. So I'm going to add white borders in, even though I took them off. But I do think this is a really good show as well of the scaling of the pattern. So for example, like I say, this is Catalyst card set 3. So this is it in the A6, and this is it in the A4. So you can see, for example, that it's a complete scale. It's not just sections. So if you like this pattern in the A6, then the A4 is a complete section of that. And again, if you like this pattern in the A4, it's not, we've just not just cut a piece out of it, we've completely scaled it down with that, which I won't lie, does to make it longer and longer to print, because obviously, but they are created not A4, shall we say. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to grab some white card, because that's something I should have picked up before I began, because we want to layer Abby's picture up, don't we? So I do really want the picture to fit inside here, so I am going to have to cut it off a little bit more. I'm not too worried about it fitting perfectly. It's just I want to scale it down just a section. So there you go. Sam has put the link on for the A5. So you just go up, basically. Go up a tab from there, and it'll have all the other sizes. Okay. For all those that have returned to sort of schooly type things today, are you doing well? Or recently, if you're from across the pond, because I know obviously a lot of you guys went back a little bit earlier. I'm going to go a little bit more, just a little smidge more. And I am just going with how it looks to me. I'm not, like I say, I'm actually not overly concerned about the exact measurement. It's how it looks. Let's face it, this is an aesthetic process, isn't it? It's how we want it to look. So, I just already got some of those. So I'm going to use some 3D foams. Because I like the photos to sit proud. And then I will use a wet glue or a Pritt stick, something like other glue sticks are available, to put everything else together. But how is everyone this evening? Okay, who have we got? We've got Shaz and Alison and Moira and Maggie. Dominique, Christine. Fabulous. Okay. Moira, I did see your email. I will get that. I will get back to you. I'm sorry. I will absolutely admit, because I had to do this with the creative team last night, that this particular summer break I have been reasonably useless. I've made sure to keep up with my Try It Out Tuesdays where possible, and you know, shelves haven't fallen down and what have you. But I'm getting to that stage with my girls where they're a little bit older, and you know, when you can start to feel, you know, you're coming to the end of a certain phase of your life. And I can't lie, I've been a bit of misery about it. So I've very, very much been focusing on them, whether they liked it or not. I'm not one, you know. So, but, you know, they're back this week, so therefore, so am I. So if we put that in there, see? So it just creates that beautiful layering already, which is sort of effortless. Yeah? Okay. Now, this tub, where I have all my, what I would refer to as paper ribbons, all the offcuts of bits where I've cut things down or whatever. This, I'm not, I won't pretend to you, this doesn't live like this. It generally lives in a box that says scrap/collage on it, and it's all sort of in there. So I filtered out all the strip bits, or cut them straight. Okay, but on the whole, they were just bits that were already cut down. In fairness, if you go through some of my other videos, you'll probably find where I cut them. So there you go. That's nice, isn't it? I do have, and I haven't decided if I'm going to use them yet, because it feels a bit bold. Okay, let me just lift Abby to the side a second. I do have these pieces of Catalyst Collage as well, but I'm just not sure if they're the right vibe, because obviously the rest of this is all Catalyst card that was all made with distress ink, etc. Whereas these just feel a little bit too grungy for this particular thing. I'm not really sure. So we might circle back. Now, like I say, as you can see, not all of these have a white border on, but I genuinely think that piecing them all together is going to give us a really sort of, instead of keeping it all regimented and regular, really create that sort of paper patchwork look, which I think is going to be really, really beautiful. Okay, and I think, in all honesty as well, I think we're going to have plenty of pieces. Well, that sort of works going across there as well, doesn't it? I think we're going to have plenty of pieces without those blue ones. So do you know what? I am actually going to leave them to the side, because if they are an unanswered question, I think I've got plenty to be going on with. Those three I'm going to save to go across the way, because I liked how that looked. See, for example, that one's got an ink smudge on it, but I'm not fussed about that. If it really offends me later, I'll put something over the top. Okay, so the rest, I think what I'm going to do is actually just start sticking them down. So I'm going to get, tell you what, let's use, oh, I've got a scrap piece here. And I've got a brush. I'm going to use some matte medium. Now, I will say, my matte medium with my Catalyst card, to be honest, I would prefer to be using a thicker one because obviously your Catalyst card is weightier. Let me get a bigger brush as well. Is weightier than your Catalyst for collage, for example, because that's thinner. So we're just going to push that down on there. I'm hoping that it's reasonably straight. Okay, but I do think that the Catalyst cards do have a real sort of vibe to them that's sort of their own. The Catalyst collage is very different in their composition. So yeah, I think I was right to say let's stick with Catalyst cards. I'm just going to lay them all up. Depends, we want them quite... Obviously, these would be really good to add on to your ATCs. You know, if you're making a big sheet to make ATCs out of, I would patchwork these and then chop it up. Do you remember when I did before patchworking? Well, today I have cut them up into ATCs and they're going to be going to our Facebook subscribers when I finish them. They're all at the minute in a clip, just trying to get them a little bit flatter. But just to give you an idea, I know I showed you, but I can't remember when. So all these were all just pieces of paper and offcuts that I stuck onto a 12 by 12 piece of board. Added a lot of pen to stamps to inkable blending, and then they're now the backgrounds. So I've just clasped them all together to try and make them as flat as possible. Okie dokie, here we are. So sorry, let's get back to this. It was just a momentary break. Yes, I have spent all day petitioning Caitlin to be homeschooled. She is not having a bar of it. Like, she won't even entertain it, which I think is just a little bit rude. But, you know, I keep trying her. Every time she's reluctant to get out of bed for school. Do you want to be homeschooled? No. Damn it. Because I'm trying, you know. I am trying. Okay, so I'm going to add in some of these squares now. I can only assume that as squares, they must have been chopped for a purpose. I'm just not sure what that purpose was. I'm just gonna... Oh no, that's adhered exceedingly quickly. So we won't be doing that. Put that one there, I think. Oh, probably flat though would be better. And then we'll go with this one over here. And I have to say, I think this would be fantabulous as an art journal page. Look at it. It's beautiful. Is there anything specific? Now I'm getting back in the groove of things in terms of planning. that anyone is hoping for on a Try It Out Tuesday coming up, you know, is there any topic that isn't covered enough for you? Because you have to let us know. I am honestly more than happy. One could almost say ecstatic. Oh, that's no. That's far too wonky, that one, even for me. Like I say, these were just out of my scrap box. I didn't cut anything specifically up for these strips. These are just offcuts. But you absolutely could do that. Okay? It doesn't have to be offcuts. If you like this and you've got catalyst cards, you're like, do you know what? I'm going to chop some of them up. Do that. You really should. Now, if I put that there, you see, it's not covering all of it at all. It really is just letting it go. Right, so see, because there's darker sections of Abby's hair there, I feel like I should add in some dark blending, but is that going to be wrong? I'm just going to have a look through some of the other photos I have, and yes, I know I've already cut her down and layered her up. Oh, that's me. I don't want that one. That one of Katie I've cut off the top of her head. I'm fully aware I need to order more photos, especially the amount I take over the holidays. I think we'll stick with that one. Hi, Rachel. I absolutely love how that's come together. Really beautiful. Right, so I'm going to, while I'm thinking about what's going to happen next, I'm going to use some 3D foam to attach this to the A6 catalyst card. You're going to treat yourself to a photo printer. I did have a photo printer years ago. When I used to do scrapbooking all the time. I have added some more pages in my super mini book that I started. Got any in yours yet, Sam? Sorry, just checking something. You know when messages pop up that only you get and you're like, is that an urgent thing? No, it's not. Okie doke. It did wake up, just decide to be autumn, didn't it, though, September? It has decided autumn. I have been jealous of some of the rain that I've seen some of you getting. But, you know, give us a few days of it. Have I started the book you gave me? No, I haven't, to be fair. Have you started your version of that one? I've got some books to finish, though. To be fair, Moira, I've been doing that a lot recently too. I'm trying not to miss things to take photos. Because I do think one of the problems, I will say, with those of us that are a little bit not Gen, what are they? Gen X or Gen Alpha, is I have said, my kids, they're terrible at taking photos. Awful. But I think it's because we're so excited that we always have this possibility to take videos and photos and whatever, that we do feel like we have to. But I have been getting better at actually just trying to live in the moment. But you've been busy buying stationery. That's true, she has. And then there's actually, did I put the 3D foam away? I'll put some more on here. I'm not going to stick it down yet. I need to add something else to these pages. I cut out a lot of stamped ephemera, didn't I? Last week. Let's have a look. And today, whilst making plans, what I have done is separate out into yet another box my coloured in things that grow and my black and white. So depending on how I'm feeling, I think I might just do like an absolute ton more colour. And I actually think I'm going to stick this down and work around it, because otherwise I'm going to end up covering things up, aren't I? A craft card one. Oh, that's fab. I've still got a Dina. Yeah, a Dina craft card one. But as you know, I've become a lot less weighed down with the sort of journal or whatever I'm working in. I will say I still love my Dilutions and Dina journals, but sometimes I feel like they're a precious thing that doesn't always help me be creative. So that's why I think sometimes working in the notebooks works for me creatively, because I don't feel that it has to be amazing every time. I saw the picture of the Little Mermaid. That was beautiful. I would like to go to Copenhagen. Okay, so I'm actually just going to start adding in some floral elements. And what I'm going to attempt to do is stop just before I go too far. Like just before. I absolutely love this flower. I don't use it enough, that's for sure. Let's have a little look at some others. And in fact, because these are stamped in black, that is going to help bring in that slightly, that's a bit too heavy, darker line that I was hoping for a bit of balance. Okay, now all of your ink on your Catalyst cards and your Catalyst collage are fixed, you can't move them. But I have coloured these in, unless, for example, it's one like this that has been stamped on collage Catalyst card. But if I've coloured them in, they're usually been watercoloured with Distress. So I do have to be careful not to put too much matte medium over the top. And then I'm going to grab, and I'm going to test this before we can 100% commit to it. I'm going to get, that's blue. I'm going to get my number 8 Pigma Micron. Now you can see I've got a white faux stitch that's printed on most of the Catalyst card here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add in this white border a black one. Now I'm using my number 8 Pigma Micron. If you have a fine liner you love, then use that one. If you have a preferred colour of fine liner, you're like, I'd rather use that. Absolutely, you should. But this is why, this is a very good example right here of when we started doing our own stamps a very long time ago now. They had to be clear. Because even though I was primarily a scrapbooker at the time, and I would get to this stage of a page and I'd want to start adding stamps in. So they had to be clear so I could see where I was going and what I was working around. And that is definitely doing something. Now, something we haven't covered a lot in our scrapbooking lives that we've done so far this year is adding in journaling. Now, I was never a big journaler when it comes to scrapbooking because I don't like my own handwriting. Okay? But whether you like your handwriting or not, if you like to add journaling into your scrapbook pages, you absolutely should. Because if you're using them as a photo album and not just a creative thing, you sometimes want that. But what I tend to do is if I want details of where the photo was taken or when, I will sometimes type that up and print it off. Or I'll use, for example, my typewriter alpha and put Abby in the year this was taken. Which I'm not going to do right now because I can't remember. I would have to go back and check. So journaling is one of those things. So even if I do add in journaling, I do tend to put it behind something. So for example, I'll have a hinge so something goes over the top so you can't see it. I'm just not a fan of my own handwriting. It's not awful, but if this isn't your first time at Bee Crafty, you've probably heard me moan about this before. It's not awful, but the problem is I grew up in a household where everybody else had absolutely stunning handwriting. My mum had lovely, well still does, has big, bubbly, lovely handwriting like a primary school teacher out of a Roald Dahl book. A nice one. What you need Blighton then. My dad was a draftsman, so he has this beautiful. And Sam's is just sort of like a mix between the two. And then there's me. A muggle. So that's why I type. But as you can see, the whole thing with scrapbooking, there is lots of scrapbooking tutorials nowadays you can get. And you will see most of them, the standard scrapbooking size is 12 by 12. But there's a couple of problems with that. We used to sell a lot of 12 by 12 paper, but it now costs a small fortune to post. I think A4 is a really nice workable format that works with photos. So for example, photos come generally in a 6x4, which is around an A6 size. So I think A4 works with it in terms of proportion. So Oh, Shaz, I do something, like I said, I do journaling on pages that are going in a book and cover over them. And I do try, and they do say, do you make sure your handwriting is somewhere, because somebody will want to see it one day. But I am actually really loving the A4. I think it's going to be really easy to find, sort of like a book, when I decide to put them all in. At the minute, they're all just living in a plastic wallet. See, this technically doesn't have a white border, but I'm still going to add a little bit of this stitch. I'm so glad I added those stamped elements, because it just enabled me to get stitchy with it. I'm not even sure about adding a sentiment. I'd even got my creativity words here ready. And my stitchy borders, because I was gonna I specifically want the one that's fallen off. Isn't that always the way? It's in the basket, I just don't have time to go through the basket right now. I've got a little doodle art down here. What's it doing down here? It's in a basket, it's not just like cruising around on there. I just think that zigzag one would have been right. I think I'm going to leave it until I have that one back in my possession. Oh, that being said, bear with, I have got the wasted time here. I know where the big clock is. It's attached to a block. And I'm just thinking the border off that might go really beautifully down there because of the cogs that are in the background. But then I'm worried about, what if I don't like it after I've done it? Yeah. That's what I'm here for, aren't I? I'm here to try it out for you on a Tuesday. Let's do it. Ink onto my stamp. And if I don't like it, I will cover it up with something else. But I do like it, so everything's good. I'm going to go again, across the way. Oh, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. Right, I'm going to give that a quick waft with my heat tool, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in with my Posca and just pick out a couple. Of elements, and obviously I didn't pick up my smallest Posca because that would be silly and totally unchallenging. Here we go. But again, think of this if you wanted to do it as an art journal page with a nice big element there. Okay. Like I said, I scrapbook like I art journal like I make cards. And I make cards like I'm making ATCs. And all the things in between. Because that's what makes it fun. That all the techniques are interchangeable. And you can really have fun with it. Stamping and paper craft. The joy. Right, I'm actually not going to put a sentiment on it. I might add some journaling to it at a later date when it goes into an album. But I think for now, I am actually really, really happy with how that's come together. I'm loving the composition of it, the journaling essentials stamps, and the doodle art. I think they work really well with the composition of the catalyst cards. Righty ho! So it is a new month, which means there is a new challenge coming on the Bee Crafty Stamps group. So please go and make sure you check that out. The creative team have been making some stunning photo step-by-steps on the Bee Crafty blog. So if you like that sort of magazine style with photo step-by-steps, the Bee Crafty blog is absolutely for you. There is lots of card making on there, lots of tags recently as well, which is obviously very much fun to me, but art journal pages. And like I say, you can use all of those techniques. So if you like an art journal page and think, I'd like to turn that into a tag, just follow the step-by-step in a size that suits you. They're absolutely fantastic, just like our creative team, actually. We have got some of the lives coming up for you this week, and we do have something very special coming for you next week, so make sure you stay tuned. The Bee Crafty Dolly Dimples workshop is on the last Sunday of the month, so if you would like to book that, there is also places available online. I'm trying to think, I'm sure there's something else, but that'll do for now. Keep your eyes on the Facebook page, because I will announce there where other things are happening, and I will do my best to make sure I also put it right here on YouTube in the shorts and post section. Okay, so make sure you like and subscribe, and then you will get a notification when I post. All right then, guys, thank you so much for joining me. Have a fantastic rest of your evening and a fantastic rest of your September. Bye.